Hi everyone, so how are you all? I hope you're doing well. Today, without any useless talk, let's come straight to the story, because there are some moments that don't need too many words, they just need to be felt. My name is Claire, and this story is about my friend, so the story begins. It was a college fest day. Evening had already fallen. Lights, music, and noise were everywhere. My friend Ahana had drunk a little, not too much, but enough that her balance and control had loosened. Preeti saw her. She didn't like it at all. Preeti is Ahana's friend. Preeti stepped forward, held Ahana's hand, and without saying anything, took her toward the backstage changing room. Changing room. The door closed, the outside noise stopped, the room was small, the light was dim, and between the two of them there was a strange silence. Preeti made Ahana sit on the chair. There was no softness on her face. I was watching from the window. Preeti said, "Change your clothes, we don't have time." Ahana stood up and looked straight into Preeti's eyes. Both of them were almost the same height. Neither of them looked away. Ahana removed her jacket. Preeti didn't turn her face away. This was not a moment of embarrassment. This was a moment of clash and attraction. Ahana was slowly changing her clothes, and Preeti was just watching the expressions on her face. After Ahana finished changing, Preeti took one step forward. The distance between them was almost gone. Preeti placed her hand near Ahana's collar and gave her a slight push. Ahana sat straight down on the chair. There was no fear, just surprise. Preeti lifted Ahana's chin with 2 fingers and said in a low voice, "Next time, stay within your limits. That's it." Ahana was not fully in her senses, and she kissed Preeti. Outside, the fest was still going on, but Preeti's mind was stuck right there. And Ahana, as if nothing had happened, calmly walked out. But both of them knew this story had just begun. But Preeti stayed standing there. That kiss was not planned. It wasn't a step taken deliberately. It was just a moment, sudden, uncontrolled. Preeti closed her eyes, took a long breath. What was that? And why is my heart still beating so fast? After a while, Preeti also came outside. Everything looked normal, laughter, photos, music. But something had changed between Ahana and Preeti. Ahana was standing at a distance, laughing with friends, but her eyes kept searching for Preeti. Whenever their eyes met, both of them immediately looked away. No anger, no shame, just an unspoken nervousness. I was watching everything from within the crowd. Ahana didn't look like the same person anymore, and Preeti, she looked completely different, quiet, but deeply lost in thought. I understood this wasn't just a kiss. This was the beginning of love. After the fest ended, everyone was standing outside on the lawn. Ahana was alone, looking at her phone. Preeti came up to her, slowly. "Ahana," she said her name for the first time. Ahana looked up. Their eyes met. This time there was no hurry, no push, no limits. There was just one question, clearly visible in the eyes. Was what happened just intoxication? Or something else? Ahana didn't say anything. She just gave a slight smile and said, "Come on, let's go home." Preeti didn't say yes, nor did she say no. She just walked along with Ahana, and I stood behind thinking, will this story go beyond friendship? Or will it remain just one night's confusion? One thing was certain, Ahana and Preeti were no longer the same. Ahana and Preeti were walking together. The night air was cold, the college campus was almost empty. There was no conversation between them, but the silence was no longer heavy. It was peaceful. Ahana suddenly stopped. Preeti stopped too. This time there was no intoxication, no excuse. Ahana softly said, "Preeti, what happened wasn't just a mistake of that moment." Preeti looked at her, straight into her eyes. Then what was it? There was no harshness in her voice, only a desire to know the truth. Ahana took one step forward. Not too close, just close enough for the words to reach the heart. Maybe what we both had been ignoring for a long time. Preeti didn't say anything, she just took a long breath. Then very softly she said, "So should we stop running now?" Ahana smiled. She held Preeti's hand, this time not by pulling, not out of compulsion, by choice. I stood at a distance watching all this, and I understood. This wasn't a story about a fest. This was the beginning of a new relationship. No hurry, no promises, just two people who were no longer lying to themselves. And maybe that was the boldest thing of all.